In recent years, however, people have come to celebrate the extraordinary flavors and variety of produce the cuisine has to offer. High-profile chefs such as Ferran Adria, mastermind of the now-closed El Bulli restaurant, and the Roca brothers, founders of the El Teler de Can Roca, have brought Spain's Alta Cocina international acclaim, and in 2023, Spain had more restaurants on the world's 50 best list than any other country. But the heart of Spanish cooking remains in its rustic homespun nature, a legacy of a time when hard-pressed Spaniards had to work the land for everything it would offer. These 14 dishes, from seafood and meat to rice and pastries, are essential to sample when you travel to Spain. Paella is perhaps the most famous Spanish dish of all, and certainly one of the most abused. Authentic paella originates from the region around Valencia, and comes in two varieties, Paella Valenciana, with rabbit and chicken, and seafood paella. Saffron gives the rice its color and the base should be left to crisp into a mouth-watering black crust, called the socarrat. Spaniards only eat it at lunchtime. A staple among the small dishes that make up a classic tapas menu, Patatas Bravas brave potatoes, is named for its spicy sauce, rare in a land that generally shuns fiery food. The potatoes are cubed and shallow fried and served the same everywhere. The sauce can come in any number of ways, from spicy ketchup to garlic mayonnaise with a dusting of pimiento, smoked paprika, or both. One theory holds that the dirtier the bar, the better the bravas. This tomato-based Andalusian soup is most famous for being served cold. This can be quite a shock for those who aren't expecting it, but in the searing heat of a Seville summer, the attraction becomes clear. Its principal ingredients, aside from tomato, are peppers, garlic, bread, and lots of olive oil. Pimientos de Padrón. A common dish on tapas menus, pimientos de padrón are green peppers that hail originally from the town of that name in Galicia, in Spain's lush rainy northwest. Pimientos de padrón are fried in olive oil and served with a deep sprinkling of salt. Though generally sweet and mild, their fame stems from the fact that the occasional pepper will be fiery hot, lending a Russian roulette element of surprise to eating them. Fideuà. Less well known to tourists, Fideuà is a type of Spanish pasta similar to vermicelli. It's popular in Catalonia and Valencia in seafood dishes that rival paella for their taste and intricacy. Fideuà is typically cooked in a paella dish. Jamón. Jamón, or cured ham, is the most celebrated Spanish food product. Legs of ham were traditionally salted and hung up to dry to preserve them through the long winter months. Jamón serrano of the mountain is the most common kind and comes from white pigs. The more expensive Jamón ibérico comes from black pigs. The best ham should be enjoyed in thin, melt-in-your-mouth slices on its own, with a little bread. Jamón is the staple of the Spanish table, says Chef José Pizarro, the brains behind José Tapas Bar, Pizarro and José Pizarro restaurants in London, and a handful of other eateries. We eat it before we eat. Its salty, acorn-laden taste is the perfect accompaniment to sherry and cava, and it gets your juices flowing for the meal that is yet to come. It's brilliantly good value, and a leg can last ages as long as you cover and store it properly. Look for waxy fat. When you rub it, it should melt into your skin like candle wax. The humble Spanish omelet can be made with chorizo peppers and onions, among other ingredients, but purists will tell you it should only contain potatoes and eggs. The potatoes are diced and lightly fried before being added to the egg mixture and fried on a high heat. The trickiest part is when you have to flip the pan over to turn the tortilla. If you get it right, someone should shout, "Ole!" Get it wrong and you'll have gooey half-cooked tortilla everywhere. Fried dough dipped in chocolate? Yes, please. Fried dough dipped in chocolate? Yes, please. Churros are a popular snack made from fried dough, cut into sausage shapes and doused in sugar. They're a favorite at fiestas or street parties when they're sold by roadside vendors. Dipping them in hot melted chocolate is pretty much the law. Another typical item on a tapas menu, croquetas are tubes of bechamel sauce encased in fried breadcrumbs, but a lot more tasty than that sounds. Jamón croquetas and salt cod croquetas are common varieties. They're tricky to make and are perhaps best enjoyed at a tapas bar along with a cold beer. Albondigas. These meatballs in tomato sauce are served all over Spain. A classic tapas item, albondigas or meatballs in tomato sauce are served all over Spain. A tasty variation serves up the meatballs drizzled in an almond sauce minus the tomatoes. Migas. A legendary dish spoken of in almost hushed tones by Spaniards, migas is a good example of how much of Spain's cuisine has evolved from peasant food. It's essentially dry breadcrumbs torn up and fried in a variety of combinations, often served with chorizo or bacon. Migas, handed down from agricultural laborers who had to be thrifty with their ingredients, is comfort food supreme, and in recent times has found its way onto fancy restaurant menus. Bacalao. Bacalao al pilpil is a traditional Basque country recipe. A prized dish in Spain, bacalao, or salted cod, was brought back for hundreds of years by Spanish fishermen from as far afield as Norway and Newfoundland. The fish is not found in local waters, and it was salted to preserve it on the journey. It has to be left to soak in water for at least 24 hours to remove all but the slightest tang of salt. Bacalao is served in all manner of dishes. One of the most popular is with pilpil sauce made of olive oil, garlic, and the juice of the fish, and typical in the Basque country. Fabada. A favorite of the northwestern Asturias region and based around the white fabe bean, fabada is a one-pot feast usually served with a mixture of pork meats. Chorizo, pork belly, and bacon are common accompaniments, as is morcilla, Spanish blood sausage, which tastes far better than it should. Leche Frita. Leche Frita is a traditional Spanish dessert. Think it's impossible to fry milk? Think again. Leche Frita or fried milk is a popular dessert made by whipping up milk, egg yolks, and flour. This is left to chill and solidify before being coated in breadcrumbs and fried. It can be served hot or cold. Pollo al Ajillo. Any Spaniard will tell you that the best garlic chicken ever is the one their grandmother makes. And of course they are right. Unpeeled cloves of garlic are fried in olive oil to flavor it, then taken out before adding pieces of chicken. When that's cooked, the garlic goes back in with some rosemary, thyme, and some dry sherry or white wine. But there is no definitive recipe for this much-loved dish. Try our juicy rosemary and garlic chicken. Cochinillo Asado, a plate of potatoes with a pig's leg. People might claim they're going to Segovia to see its astounding Roman aqueduct, fairy tale castle, or elegant cathedral, but really all that is just to build up an appetite for lunch. And in Segovia, that means either roast suckling pig or lamb. The meat is cooked in huge wood-fired ovens and is so tender it is cut with the side of an earthenware plate. Pisto, a skillet of eggs with peppers, courgette, aubergine, and tomatoes. The Spanish version of ratatouille turns up all over the country in different guises, but is most typical in the towns and villages across the plains of La Mancha, south of Madrid. Onions, garlic, courgettes, peppers, and tomatoes are slow-fried in olive oil. This is not a dish that likes to be rushed. It's usually served as a starter, sometimes with fried eggs or chorizo, but is great as a side dish too. Try making our pisto con huevos. Serve this traditional Spanish recipe with rustic bread and a fruity red wine. Turrón, a block of nougat with a slice cut. Spaniards devour massive amounts of turrón, or almond nougat, at Christmas, although it's available all year round. Most of it is made in the small town of Girona, in the province of Alicante, using locally grown almonds mixed with honey and egg white. There are two basic types, a soft smooth version called Girona, and hard Alicante turrón, which contains pieces of almond. A continental-style breakfast, desayuno, may be taken just after waking up, or before entering the workplace. Common products taken during breakfast include coffee, milk, chocolate drink, biscuits, most notably Marie biscuits, Magdalenas, toast featuring ingredients such as oil, tomato, and butter, and churros. Due to the large time span between breakfast and lunch, it is not uncommon to halt the working schedule to take a mid-morning snack. Lunch, el almuerzo or la comida, literally meaning the meal, is the large midday meal in Spain and contains several courses, especially in restaurants. In some regions of Spain, the word almuerzo refers to the mid-morning snack, instead of lunch. Lunch usually starts around 2 to 2:30 p.m. and finishes around 3 to 3:30 p.m. and is usually followed by sobremesa, which refers to the table talk that Spanish people undertake. Menus are organized according to these courses and include 5 or 6 choices in each course. At home, Spanish meals contain 1 or 2 courses and a dessert. The content of this meal is usually a soup dish, salad, a meat or a fish dish, and a dessert such as fruit, yogurt, or something sweet. Tapas may also be typically served before or during lunch. According to a 2017 report, the Spanish government has taken steps to shorten the traditional long lunch break in an effort to end the workday earlier. Most businesses shut down for 2 or 3 hours for lunch, then resume the working day until dinner time in the evening. La cena, meaning both dinner or supper, is taken between 8:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. It typically consists of 1 course and dessert. Due to the large time span between lunch and dinner, an afternoon snack, la merienda, equivalent to afternoon tea, may take place at about 6 p.m. At merienda, people typically drink coffee, eat something sweet, or eat a sandwich or a piece of fruit. Some countrywide staple dishes common throughout Spain include croquetas, or croquettes, paella, a rice dish from the Valencian community, ensaladilla rusa, or olivier salad, gazpacho, a vegetable cold soup, and tortilla de patatas, or Spanish omelet. There is a disagreement in Spanish society when it comes to preferring onion as an ingredient in the Spanish omelet, often accompanied by highly opinionated views on either side.